In the new language of emotions, I've gone through the entire book and updated everything that we've been working on over the 14 years since I wrote the first version of it. And one of the emotion families, the sadness family, did not have that many changes. Some of the families got a lot of changes, but the sadness family was pretty strong. And the work of the sadness family is, I'm reading, is stopping, letting go, and recovering. The four emotions in the sadness family are sadness, grief, situational depression, and the suicidal urge. And the questions have remained the same for sadness. The question is what must be released and what must be rejuvenated? Because when you can truly release something, you can have more room for things to come that are now soothing and exciting and appropriate for what's going on. If you hold on to things that need to be let go of anyway, sadness will come forward. Sadness helps you let go of things that aren't working anyway. And so the question, what must be released and what must be rejuvenated, leans into the work that sadness is trying to help you do. With grief, which is a different emotion than sadness, there was a change in that question. And I think the original was what must be mourned and what must be released completely. But I realized with grief, you don't release things completely. You come into a different relationship with them now that they're gone, or now that the person has died, or the idea has failed, or the job has gone, stuff like that. You don't release them completely because they make up a part of who you are. So the new question is what must be mourned and how do I honor what was lost, right? In mourning, in grief rituals, we see throughout the world that people are learning how to honor and mark what has been lost. So that's a really important part of grief, is not to be like, that's done. If it was important to you, that hand dusting gesture is very inappropriate. How do you sort of integrate what you had and what you lost? That's the work of grief, is how to move forward as a person who has lost something. How do I honor what I've lost? Situational depression, which is different than the more, I guess, serious forms of depression, like major depression, bipolar depression, postpartum depression. Situational depression focuses on a situation that's going wrong. And I call situational depression ingenious stagnation because it's very smart and it stops you. So what it does is it kind of takes your energy away when you're heading in a direction you shouldn't be heading, when something is going wrong in your life or your relationships or your job, when something's going on with your health, when there's just, you don't want to keep moving forward, right? And one of the problems with that is, who wants to be told not to go forward? Nobody, right? We all just want to go forward and not be questioned. And situational depression says, excuse me, friend. we call it the reality check. Really, says your situational depression. You want to keep doing that? I don't think so. So the questions for situational depression are, where has my energy gone? And why was it sent away? There's something intelligent within situational depression that sends your energy away so you cannot keep going forward doing the wrong thing with the wrong intention for the wrong reason at the wrong time. If you can listen to your situational depression, you can really change your life. This is a really important relationship to have with this important emotion, because situational depression is very intelligent. It knows a lot of times we are so busy and we're just rushing and moving and we're on the train of life and we don't have time to stop and say, hey, something's wrong, right? It's situational depression that can do that for us if we don't make the time in our lives. Yeah. Thank you, situational depression. The fourth emotion in the sadness family is can be a very scary one. It's the suicidal urge. The questions for the suicidal urge have changed a little bit. It used to be what it was all focused inside yourself. What behavior or idea, that was it. What behavior or idea must end now? And we realized that if you're in a suicidal urge, there's probably a lot of things going on outside of you. It's not just your internal behaviors and ideas, it's what's going on. So the what we changed was what behavior or situation must end now, and what can no longer be tolerated in my soul. I see situational depression and suicidal urge as kind of partners. If your situational depression is saying, stop, reality check, stop doing that, and you don't. You're like, nope, I'm going ahead. This is the train of my life, and it's not stopping, pal. Eventually, you're going to end up in a very unsafe and uncomfortable and inappropriate situation. At that time, the suicidal urge may come up to say, to bring that kind of energy of death. And what I've noticed is that it only comes up when things are really, really dire. When what's going in your life, what's going on in your life is probably going to kill you anyway if it doesn't stop, right? So there's almost like an agency that happens where a person says, well, I can end my life. So, I'm not out, I'm not powerless here. I have choices, and that can be very helpful. The suicidal urge can be very helpful in that way. But in dynamic emotional integration, which is my applied work, our first message about this emotion is your body is off the table. We are not killing our physical body, right? When we ask the question, what behavior or situation must end now, we're not saying what person. No, there's a behavior going on, there's a situation going on, they need to end. Yeah. And what can no longer be tolerated in my soul? It really shifts the focus of the suicidal urge away from me and my failures and all that, and into what is going on in my life that brought me to this place, and what can we end, right? Working with the suicidal urge is an amazing process. And of course, if you are dealing with suicidal ideation now, uh, get some help. There's a lot of good help available, and it's important just to talk about it, because when you start talking about it, you're going to realize how many things have gone wrong and how much needs to end, but your life doesn't need to end. Yeah. You can call your local crisis or suicide hotline. In the United States, there is the 988 Lifeline. You can text 988, or you can call 1-800-273-8255. Yeah. When the suicidal urge comes up, it does so because something is very wrong and it's not going to get right. And this emotion, if you can work with it, can help give you the strength and the power you need to I don't want to say let go, because that's a sadness behavior. Sadness is about letting go. For me, it's what needs to get killed, right? What in my life needs to go? No questions asked. No. The suicidal urge can be very frightening if you don't know that there's another way to work with it. But once you do have that way to work with it, your body will be safe, right? You will be safe from yourself. But the problems that have been besetting you, they are on notice, okay? It's like you can take yourself back with the power of this emotion. So if the suicidal urge is a friend of yours, and I grew up with suicidal urges, know that there's a purpose for it. And Your own sacred life doesn't need to end. What it's there for is to help you reclaim your own sacred life. Thank you to the Sadness family, and thank you.